All right. Hi to anyone who might be watching this. Kind of just felt like filming a video, kind of like my own little personal DR session. Talk a little bit about Big Brother. There's been, I guess, some pretty interesting stuff about me online. A lot not true, some true. And yeah, I don't know, I just kind of thought I would talk about some things. I think coming out of the house, I just wanted to prioritize talking to Kelsey. I wanted to prioritize getting my head on straight and decompressing and processing everything that I just experienced for the past 3+ months. Before anything else, can we just agree that had to be one of the hardest seasons of Big Brother yet? 3 nominees every week for 10 weeks straight. And the veto was used almost every single time. I think while there were 3 nominees, the veto was used every time except maybe once. I think. And I talk shit in the game, just as everyone else did. But, one thing that I wanted to make sure I did was talk shit about game specific. Never make anything personal. There was a version of us in there, but that wasn't like 100% us, because there was always an element of we're playing a game. So how much are you willing to share? What are you willing to say? So yeah, there's a version of me outside, and believe it or not, a lot of people are going to probably call BS on this, but I don't cry that much in my normal life. It becomes so incredibly hard to think clearly over time. I mean, in Part 2 HOH, I couldn't even read directions. I couldn't even follow specific instructions. And then I just stood there with my mind blank. My brain just shut off. The gears stopped turning. Not at any point did I think to reread the clue. I had like probably a 20-minute lead, and I just stood there, blank. It just shut off, nothing. And I don't know if I ever would have gotten that right, because it just wasn't clicking. It just didn't make sense. I don't know, it wasn't clicking for me. And on one end, I thought maybe people could see how much I struggle, and I could be vulnerable. And I hoped that would maybe resonate with some people. But to be honest, I feel like I went so far on the other end with so many things. I just went to the extreme in so many ways on the show. From what I could tell, there was a lot of people that wanted to root for me and were rooting for me in the beginning of the show. But as time went on, they were just like, all right, man, like, get your shit together. Like, okay, we get it. Come on, dude. Like, come on. All right. And as time went on, they probably felt like, even if they wanted to root for me, they couldn't, because they viewed me as somebody throwing a pity party, or I was crying too much, or I started to lie too much, or I was emotionally cheating. I don't know, I became the person that people love to hate. It's just a crazy environment and a crazy social experiment, and everybody responds and reacts in different ways. And I obviously had a unique way of reacting to that environment. Every thought in my brain, every emotion I felt was just amplified times 1 billion. It was all or nothing, life or death, all the time. And that's just not sustainable long term. To put that much weight on your shoulders and that much pressure on yourself, and for the crying and lying and being called a weasel and all that, I get it, that's fine. I just wanted to play the game for so long. I was such a big fan. I wanted to hold on to that experience for so long that I would do anything and everything possible to just make it one more week at a time, one more week. I feel like I kind of played the game more of the mindset of don't go home, as opposed to do everything I can to win, if that makes sense. It's like that saying of trying to desperately hold on to something is like squeezing sand. Or like if you grab a handful of dry sand at the beach and you squeeze the sand, it's gonna pour out between your fingertips. And that's kind of like how my game was. The tighter I tried to squeeze and hold on to that game, the more damage I did and the more the game got away from me, and the more difficult I made it for myself, honestly. I genuinely think I would have had such an easier time if I just cared a little less. Which I could not get myself to do. I cared more about winning that game than anything in my life, which is crazy. It might sound kind of funny to hear, but that's how I felt. I do wonder that if ever given the opportunity to play again, how different would my game be? Knowing now what I've learned and having experienced everything that I have, I've gotten the full Big Brother experience. I'm very curious how I would react having learned what I know now, what I didn't know then, if that made sense. I like to think I would play totally different, but I think something else that I've learned about myself is that I don't know how I'm going to react if I'm ever on another reality show. I don't know what type of pressure I'm going to feel and what that environment will do to me. Because I just feel passionately and I put my heart and soul into whatever it is that I do. So if I'm ever in another environment like that, I like to think I would know how I would have a strategy going into it. But at the end of the day, I don't know how I'm going to react. I have no idea. So maybe I'll see one day living in that strange, indescribably unique environment. Yeah, lines started to blur. And I felt like any level of affection was normal in that alternate reality I was living in. And some people will say, how could you be that stupid? How could you not see it? And to that I could only say, well, you'd be surprised. I can be that stupid, I guess. I don't know. In hindsight, can I see how that's disrespectful to having a girlfriend? Yes, 100%. And I'm sorry for that. And to be honest, like, that's on me, 100,000%. That is on me because I'm the one who set the boundaries. I was the one who was in a relationship. I was the one who said, this is normal, and it helped me mentally in that house. But outside, I could see that not being respectful to having a girlfriend. And I should have been extra cautious. But the fact of the matter is I wasn't. I needed that level of comfort. I had somebody in the house who was providing me with that, and was an incredible game player and friend, and I knew she was going to be a force to be reckoned with. I knew she was going to start winning all types of competitions, and it would help keep me safe. It's gameplay, and it's also human, but I was just seeking that, and I needed that, and that's all I can say about that. I never would have wanted to embarrass anyone, not my girlfriend, not my family, not myself, of course, but definitely not Kelsey, because she didn't sign up for the show, I did. And then, of course, a lot of public scrutiny as well. I never viewed myself as coming out of there as a villain by any means. I never had the intention to hurt anybody outside in my normal life. And even if I didn't have the intention, I'm not okay with hurting people, even if I didn't mean to, because I still hurt people, and that's not okay. And that's something that I feel really, really bad about. And that's something I have to live with. As far as probably the more common question that everybody is asking me is, what is my relationship like? Kelsey and I have talked everything out. We have talked about everything and anything possible. And we're currently taking time to process everything individually and, figure out what things look like after that. But, something that I appreciate about her is that she had the respect for me to be the first person that I see when I leave finale night, and to stick around and have those conversations with me. When she could have left and could have never spoken to me again, and thought that, whatever her perspective was the, end of the line for me. That's what she could have done. That's what a lot of people might have done. She was there to, first, above everything else, make sure that I was okay mentally coming out of there, knowing the backlash that I was going to be receiving. But at the same time, she has enough respect for herself to take her own independent time and figure out what she wants, and to process her own experience individually. And I respect that too. It wouldn't matter whether we were on the verge of breaking up before we go into the house, or whether we were on the verge of getting engaged. The fact of the matter is I was in a relationship entering that house. Anything that anyone else, however they reacted towards me, is because I welcomed it. And I set those boundaries that was okay and that was acceptable within my relationship. So that's all on me. And I understand the way that it looked. And my finale questions, I could have done such a better job with those. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Big Brother's an incredible experience. It's an incredible show. I'm still the biggest fan. I'm an even bigger fan now than I was before. And the producers are incredible, and they take such good care of you. But you're in a pressure cooker environment where it's designed to see if you crack. And I cracked a few times. I think people might have noticed. That's all I got.